Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify. However you're listening to my voice, as always, I appreciate it. It feels like a whole month has gone by since we last spoke, but it's only been a few days. TKO appoints Dwayne Johnson on the board of directors. He was, in charge of the XFL for a season. Was that season successful? No. WWE Hall of Famer, excellent public speaker. Yes. So, if you weigh the pros and the cons, I think it's good for him, to be a part of this committee, this board of directors. I think it's kind of a no-brainer. He also got the name The Rock, which is, I think, probably the reason he might have done it in the first place. This is kind of cool news. Instead of seeing just some guy in a suit, we're going to be seeing The Rock in a suit when talking about TKO. And, they're going to be sending him out there instead of Nick Khan or Ari Emanuel or people like that. So I think it's good and it makes a lot of sense. You're going to have the guy that people recognize, one of the biggest stars in the world, out there instead of just some guy in a suit. And when it's something like UFC or WWE or anything under the TKO umbrella, I think that you need someone like that. You need someone that can stand side by side with Vince McMahon or Dana White and kind of hold his own, maybe kind of outshine them a little bit. And when it comes down to expressing what's going down in the business world. So I think it's kind of cool that they're doing that. And this is coming off the heels of Tanahashi becoming the president of New Japan. So, you got all these former workers, all these former wrestlers getting positions higher up, but you got to love it. We've seen them climb from the dojo to the office. Also, big news, WWE Raw going to Netflix in 2025. It's going to be hard seeing them leave USA, but they are getting SmackDown still on USA. But I think it's for the best. In many ways, Netflix is more mainstream than USA Network in the modern day. Netflix is a little bit, I would put up there on par with cable as far as mainstream. If you watch these award shows, everyone who's getting nominated is, most of them are on Netflix or on some streaming service. And if you just talk to people generally, they talk about Netflix, they talk about streaming services. They don't really talk about, watching certain things at certain times. I know that I'm a weekly watcher of Monday Night Raw, and I watch it on YouTube. So I think that kind of showcases why it's a good move. Kevin Nash did point out, though, that you got one company going to streaming service, leaving the dinosaur of cable, while another company is clinging to their cable rights deal. So that was kind of a shot at AEW, but, kind of a good point. Shocking, we have more news. Okada, as we spoke about last episode, is leaving New Japan, reportedly WWE bound. A lot of people are speculating whether this is true. I would love to see him in, the Royal Rumble. I know I said that wouldn't line up, the dates wouldn't line up last episode, but then I was thinking, Carl Anderson wrestled in New Japan with a contract of WWE. Would they do the same for Okada? Would they have that big epic entrance at the Royal Rumble, introducing Okada to the WWE Universe? Why not? It's a no-brainer. New Japan letting WWE use him for a little bit and then go back to Japan for a little bit could only help them. People would find out who Okada is and then find out that he's wrestling a few more matches in Japan, and maybe there's some spillover there where people finding out about New Japan for the first time. Also, the rumor is that he would go to NXT. As much as that's kind of a slap in the face, as people who've seen him wrestle in the Tokyo Dome, you got to remember that Nakamura wrestled in NXT, and he had a huge reaction. NXT has a more hardcore fan base, and NXT is going to CW, so it's going to network television. They're going to have to get A big ratings draw, a consistent ratings draw. Of course, we've had, the last few years, Finn Balor notably went there. We had Becky Lynch notably go there. You also have like Dragon Lee, Ridge Holland, Baron Corbin's of the world kind of go back and forth between there and their main roster. But I think they need a big star that people will tune into. And I think that if NXT is on CW and CW has Okada, I think people will watch CW, and I think it could all work out. You got Dragunov, Dragon Lee, Braun Breaker, Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes. The list goes on and on with guys that could wrestle Okada, and Okada could have great matches with them. I mean, I don't want to upset Jim Cornette. I don't want to give anyone any ideas, but I do think Okada could wrestle a broomstick and have a great match. Speaking of great matches, speaking of great wrestling, speaking of great wrestlers, Monday Night Raw was on USA Network for the time being, and Punk and Cody in the ring at the same damn time. First time since leaving AEW. Two best talkers in WWE right now. Punk is a great storyteller, and he starts telling the story of the first time he met Cody Rhodes, coming across Cody Rhodes. Says he was proud of Cody. Cody then goes into meeting Punk for the first time in OVW. This was building, I thought, nicely. There was, I was on the edge of my seat, but then at around the 10-minute mark, I was like, where is this going? What is going to happen here? Like I thought most of the time when Punk's come back so far. It's good, but what's it about? Then Cody starts to cook. Says he picks up the ball and that CM Punk left behind, and then he was, he talked the talk, and Cody walked the walk, and then makes him more CM Punk than CM Punk. Punk doesn't like that. He is CM Punk, damn it. Says that there is a much bigger superstar about to take, the ball away from him and finish his story. And he ain't talking about The Rock. He's talking about CM Punk. Boom. Big stare down. Light Punk chant. They walk away as downstate music hits. They're playing Cody's music, even though I think Cody kind of got sunned here a little bit by Punk. Rumor is that they're going to have a Mania match. So, who's going to outshine who at Mania, we'll have to tune in and see. Rollins says he doesn't freaking care about this doctor. Apparently he was hurt. He had an MCL tear, but he walked out there. He had just a knee brace on. He said he's going to take the title to WrestleMania. Gunther made like an ass of himself, assuming that Rollins wouldn't make it to WrestleMania. Gunther is still going to try to win the Rumble. And we have two kind of epic stare downs here, epic meetups here on this week's Raw. One not so epic because we've seen it for the past few weeks now. Becky Lynch out there talking shit to Nia Jax. Says that no one in the back likes Nia. Bayley comes out, says she is looking for Rhea, but kind of is enjoying what she's seeing, so she kind of makes her way out there without damage control, I should say. And then someone attacks Bayley, Nia attacks Bayley, something's going on here, and then they brawl with the Rumble looming this weekend to the back. Damage control in the back, not getting along with Natty and Tegan Knox. Pierce comes out, breaks it up, and then he runs into Veer and Shanky, and the man himself, Jinder Mahal. See what WWE has planned for him. It's pretty interesting going into Royal Rumble, going into Mania season. Last time he was presented prominently at WrestleMania, you got to give it to like WrestleMania 34 when he won the U.S. Championship, and here we are going into 40, 6 years later, and it doesn't really seem like, he was ever going to do anything anymore. And then boom, 2024 hits The Rock, Rollins match. He's had one hell of a month, or one hell of a year so far. We'll have to see where that happens. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Starks versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Chance and Carter watching in the back. Starks gets the win for her team. Champs in the ring after, kind of challenging Shayna and Starks. And then Damage Control attack the champs after the match. Kind of playing into what we saw on SmackDown. I think if this match gets added to the Rumble, it would be pretty good. I can't. Maybe it'll go to Elimination Chamber. Who knows? I do have to mention something that was kind of the talk of the town. Hulk Hogan, not talking about anyone's DUI arrest, not talking about him saving someone from a car, talking about the WWE video package. You know it was good, showcasing the Hulkamania that ran wild in the 80s. Also showcasing the controversial Hulkster, and then he teased a Rumble entrance. Should Hogan be in the Rumble? Hell no. Teasing it a couple weeks out to get people to talk online? Hell yeah, let's do it. Why not? I posted a poll, should Hogan be in the Rumble? It got a lot of responses, but a lot of people saying hell no. So I think the answer is no to anyone who's been paying attention the last decade. But I do think that, it is just an entrance. I mean, could he go over the top successfully? Would he get booed? That's a gamble. WrestleMania 37, he got booed out of the building in his home of Tampa. So this was a great segment for what it was, but I don't think it would be wise to showcase Hogan that much in the year of 2024. We talked about Damage Control. Let's jump over to another faction, Judgment Day. They have to defend their tag titles next week. Rhea kind of calling the shots here. Wants to see a vicious side to Judgment Day tonight. And then we get Dominic Mysterio versus The Miz. Two polarizing wrestlers that fans have known for decades here in one match. Finn and JD at ringside. Miz takes them both out before they take him out. Cross body from Miz, 1-2, no. Dom with the Fury, the furry Brody boots. JD distracts. Finn clocks Miz, 619, frog splash, 1-2-3, and then Finn just jumps on Miz, showing the vicious side, attacking Miz. DIY, who have the tag title shots next week, aren't just going to sit back and let their fellow Ohio homie get jumped like that. They come out there. But that's not all we saw at Judgment Day. Damian Priest runs into R-Truth. Truth trying to give him his cut of this money. But he tells the Truth that it's not time now. He's got something to focus on. He's got Drew McIntyre later on in the evening. And then we cut to the match. Priest versus Drew. Broken arrow, 1-2. Drew kicks out. Priest in control. R-Truth shows up, trying to give him his cut of the money again. First time a wrestler turned down a payday right here live on Raw. Drew gets control. Truth doesn't know the combination of the briefcase, trying to help him put his money in the Money in the Bank briefcase. Gets clocked by Drew. Money goes flying south of heaven from Priest. But the ref is dealing with R-Truth. Priest tosses Truth out. Claymore, 1-2-3. Priest loses because of Truth. This was funny. This was good. R-Truth is hilarious. But he did cost them the match. So push is going to come to shove here with Priest and R-Truth and Judgment Day and R-Truth going into Royal Rumble. We also had New Day versus Imperium. Both teams counted out quick, brawling into the universe. Woods and Kaiser battle on some sort of crate. And then Vinci joins them. Then Kofi also joins them. And then they all come crashing down from the crate through a table to the floor. Wild spot here. This looked good. I hate the crash pad. They had no crash pad. I love it. I'm a tables over crash pad kind of guy. Ivy Nile versus Valhalla. Maxine at ringside. Top rope bulldog from Nile. 1-2-3. Ivy Nile gets the victory. That's not all we saw of Valhalla. She was out there supporting her man Ibar, or her teammate Ibar, versus Chad Gable going at it. This match was great. The bigger man taking it to Gable until Gable is able to lock in the ankle lock. Moonsault from Ibar, nobody home. German from Gable, deadlift German, picking up Ibar, 1-2, no. German from Gable again, he goes up top. Valhalla distracts him. Ibar drops. Gable goes up top again and lands the moonsault this time. 1-2-3. Ibar gets the victory. Raw is good. I like Raw. I've been enjoying it. On YouTube, of course, I don't sit down for 3 hours. I wouldn't watch, Lord of the Rings, as I've been listening to a lot of Kevin Nash, and he always says that we're watching Lord of the Rings every week, and it's true. But if you go, Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon when you get home from work, go on and watch Raw. You can skip the things you don't like, of course, but you can get wrapped up and find out everything you want to know about Raw and see some pretty good wrestling in like an hour. Speaking of pretty good wrestling, NXT, we had the Dusty Cup Classic, Axiom and Nathan Frazier versus Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. Once I saw this match announced, I knew that we were going to see some high-flying action as well as some big man strength. Kind of like the Oddities and Kai and Tai from SummerSlam, I think 98. You got to love when the big men go up against the little men in the WWE. High flyers taken to the big guys at the beginning. Axiom gets power bombed on the table. Frazier gets picked out of the air in midair. Momentum has fucking shifted. They're still fighting. Frazier leapfrogs a spear and sends I think it was Breaker into the barricade or into the turnbuckle, and then Corbin to the outside. Corbin manhandling Axiom. Huge double team. Still can't put him away. Phoenix splash from Frazier. 1-2. Corbin breaks it up. Axiom goes for a tornado DDT, and then Corbin's able to turn it into the end of days. That looked pretty cool. Breaker hits a spear. 1, 2, 3. This match was pretty good. And then we had Ava the Rock Johnson with William Regal. William Regal tells her to look after the brand while he's gone. Ava didn't get any of her dad's charisma. She wasn't there during the contract signing she was there, with Roxanne and Lia Valkyrie. Not much happening here until this creepy bitch Tatum Paxley attacks Roxanne from behind, pissing off Lia Valkyrie. No one knows what's going on here. She's trying to appeal to Lyra, but doing it the wrong way. We also had Josh Briggs versus Trick Williams. Josh accidentally takes out Dragunov. Dragunov enraged by this, but Carmelo cuts him off from ruining the match. Trick pins Briggs, but after the bell, Briggs hits a huge lariat to Trick, taking his head off. The main event scene right here is good. In about 30 seconds, you set up, Dragunov versus Briggs, Briggs versus Carmelo, Dragunov versus Carmelo. All of this leading to Trick versus Dragunov at the big show. You gotta love it. You also gotta love the ladies' action in NXT. Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez turned on each other during the Battle Royal, and they were, spilling the tea to Noam Dar. Supernova Sessions. They start to brawl, and they are going to have a match next week, pretty much. These girls are pretty attractive, good on the mic. They can make it in this company. But that's not all we saw of Supernova. Lash Legend versus Ren Sinclair. Metaphor gets involved, and Lash wins, more or less. Lash has potential. I would bring her up in the Rumble, if you ask me. Maybe not bring her up full time, but bring her up in the Rumble. Gracie attacks Dijak during his entrance pose, and that's got to piss him off. NXT loves their entrance poses on the top of the ramp. In modern wrestling, this is a big deal. As the train comes by my house, sorry about this, guys, but I can't stop talking about pro wrestling. I love it so much. Dijak boots him through a wall and then slams him through a table, security pulling them back, and Gracie choking him out as security pulls him even more back. This ain't over between these two. I like this feud. I like these guys, but this piped-in crowd noise, it threw me off a little bit. Then we had Lexis King versus Trey Burhill. King makes short work of Burhill, and that threw me off a little bit. I thought it was going to be more of a 50-50 contest. No surprise at the outcome, but I thought, they were building a feud here, but it looked like it was just, a quick little hop, skip, and a jump to get Lexis King going. Dragon Lee versus Scripps. Scripps can fly too. Looks like a third SAT member with his red shorts. But D'Angelo comes out and starts brawling with Scripps group here, and we got this gambling group versus the mob group. Who owes someone money? I don't know. Dragon Lee ends up dropping Scripps and getting the 1, 2, 3. We also had Cameron Petrovic versus Blair Davenport. Unfamiliar with Cameron Petrovic. She comes out swinging a sword. She's been signed for about a year now, and she's doing okay. But Davenport cleans her fucking clock. 1, 2, 3. And before I get into my predictions for Royal Rumble, let's go into AEW Dynamite from last night. I'm going to hook these WWE fans, make them listen to me talk about AEW Dynamite, or they could just skip ahead before I go into my Rumble predictions. AEW Dynamite. Hook comes out to confront Joe. Joe sends security after him. Hook just takes out security, and the juxtaposition of this guy in a suit versus the dude in a hoodie who can just whoop people's ass. I mean, there's a good dynamic here in this feud. Do I believe that Hook can beat Joe? Hell no. If they do that, that's ridiculous. But I do like this little mini feud they have going on, and it's got a little bit of buzz behind it. From one world champ to another, Timeless Toni Storm out there on the top of the ramp with Mariah May and Luther, speaking face-to-face to Deonna Purrazzo. She says that she thinks it's ridiculous that she got body-shamed over the week, but that's ridiculous only because there's so much more to shame her about. I thought that was a pretty good line. And then she threatened to twist Deonna's lips. And Deonna says that they have, matching tattoos. Tony is upset by the reveal of this for some reason, and she throws a shoe. Deonna drops her. Odds into the segment, but I do think Timeless Toni Storm was good here. They just need to get to this match because Deonna Purrazzo is revealing to not be a good talker, and Toni Storm is just running all over her. Like, who gives a fuck about this matching tattoo? They didn't really need to reveal this during this feud. They're like, you may have everyone fooled, but you don't have me fooled. Like, where are you going with this, Deonna? I have no clue. Sting and Darby come out. Darby lets Sting know how much he meant to him, which was good. Young Bucks watching with headsets. I thought the headsets were pretty funny. I mean, a lot of people are shitting on the Young Bucks' new look and everything, but I think they're pretty funny. I think it's funny here. I like it. Sting wants a tag title shot, and I think they're going to put the title on Darby and Sting to get the title back on the Young Bucks because, this Jericho and Sammy thing really wasn't working out. It was supposed to be Jericho and Omega. Omega gets injured. Jericho gets like half canceled, and I think the whole thing didn't really work out. They also announced that Yuji Nagata versus Bryan Danielson will be taking place next week or on Rampage or something like that. I can't keep up. Which is cool. It's a big deal. I mean, Nagata, Blue Justice, he's been around forever. Was in WCW along with Sting. So this should be pretty good. But going into the matches for Dynamite, Hangman versus Pentagon. Some AEW originals here. Penta is wearing his white gear, diving. Buckshot countered into a Made in Japan. Moonsault from Hangman. Buckshot connects 1, 2, 3. And then he points at Joe and says he's looking to take that from him. Speaking of the title, I love it. I love it. Great match. Solid match. Wardlow versus Trent. Wardlow in control, but Undisputed Kingdom at ringside distracts the ref, and this actually allows Trent to get the upper hand using a chair. The good guy using a chair as the heel faction distracts for, it was all over the place, but, anything can happen in AEW, I guess. Wardlow still gains control, drops Trent, puts him up in the turnbuckle and just literally, lets go, of his throat as he comes down. Boom. Trent eats a knee. Huge powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. Swerve versus Jeff Hardy makes his case and shows up on Dynamite. Matt leads the crowd in a Hardy's house chant, dueling with Prince Nana in the Swerve's house chant. Jeff launches himself from the ringside steps to Swerve and then hits a twist of fate on the steps. Back in the ring, though, Swerve hits a house call, can't put Hardy away. Hardy tries to roll him up, can't put Swerve away. Swerve stomp, 1, 2, 3. Swerve gets the victory here. Thunder Rosa versus Red Velvet. Thunder Rosa, first time on Dynamite in a while. Velvet trained at the Nightmare Factory in Georgia. Rosa made a name for herself at the NWA, which was taped in Georgia. So a lot of Georgia shit happening here in Savannah. Thunder Rosa, Tijuana Bomb, 1, 2, 3. She gets the win. And then the Savannah Bananas, more Georgia celebrities at ringside cheering for Thunder Rosa. The Mogul Embassy versus the Acclaimed. Nana bullshitting here on the apron, and then Switchblade able to take advantage of the heel faction trying to cheat. So this is a thing that happened multiple times on Dynamite here. Then the Gun Club come out and put Prince Nana through a table here. Bowens hits a famouser, huge elbow from Caster. 1, 2, 3. The Acclaim get the victory, and the Bang Bang Scissor Gang is working well together, ready to take on the Undisputed Elite. Or do they still even care about that? Because it seems like as this faction was forming, they all forgot that there's this Undisputed Elite thing. Undisputed Elite are cutting promos talking about how they want the Cassie's International title, talking all kinds of stuff, but they're not talking about the Gun Club or Bullet Club or Bang Bang Game or the Daddy Ass or any of that. So I think whatever happens is we need to kind of bring this feud back together before March 3rd and maybe get a 10-man tag or something like that. Going into the main event, though, a match with a lot of hype that I do not think delivered, but was still pretty good. Suzuki versus Adam Copeland. Toughest test on the Cope Open yet. In the fight, the turnbuckle pad came off, Suzuki choking Edge, and then in the fight for Edge to keep his consciousness, Suzuki hits the turnbuckle, then Edge hits the kill switch. 1, 2, 3. Christian watching in disgust. Copeland grabs the mic, says respect. He wants to shake Suzuki's hand. Suzuki gets pissed and leaves, yells at him while he's walking away. Edge kind of, shrugs it off, says he would be kind of disappointed if he shook his hand. And that was Dynamite. I thought it was good, but I do think they need to kind of pull the trigger on some of these feuds. Get this Hook was good for a few weeks. Get him out of the world title picture. Let's get this triple threat going. Hangman Page, Swerve, Joe. Let's get this big Undisputed Kingdom thing going because, it's cool that they're friends, but let's not get distracted on the fact that they're friends and get really goofy like we did with MJF, like we did with Roderick Strong, like we did with Adam Cole in 2023. Okay, they're friends. They're joining to take down this faction. 2 ragtag good guy teams are teaming up to take down the Ultimate Bad Team. Let's get to that match. Suzuki and Edge, it was interesting pairing, but, Suzuki really can't go anymore, so, that was that. Hangman Page and Pinto, great match. Jeff Hardy and Swerve, great match. We'll see here. We'll see what goes down here. I got my ticket for March 3rd. That's all I know. But I promised the WWE fans that I would do it. And here I'm going to do it, predicting the Royal Rumble. But first, let's predict some other matches. There's only 4 matches announced for this show. Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens. Logan Paul is going to win. I don't see them taking the U.S. title just to put it on Kevin Owens. Unless they got bigger plans for Logan Paul. But going into WrestleMania, the U.S. Championship, I think that's pretty good for Logan Paul. Number 3, Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman versus Randy Orton versus AJ Styles versus LA Knight. They ain't taking the title off of Roman here. And I think they would be foolish to have LA Knight eat the pin because he's the guy they want to heat up here. I think you got 3 bulletproof guys and you got a guy that they're bringing into the fold. So what I don't want to see is LA Knight take the pin. But there's creative ways to get to anything, I guess. Maybe you have AJ Styles eat the pin and you set up a match, Randy Orton and LA Knight going into Elimination Chamber or going into Mania. The Women's Royal Rumble, come on, it's going to be Becky Lynch winning, facing Rhea Ripley. I said it during the brand split. That's all roads lead to that at WrestleMania, so get all roads leading to that at WrestleMania. Men's Royal Rumble match, a little harder to call. You got Punk, you got Cody Rhodes, you got Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, Gunther, Kofi Kingston, and Damian Priest. So I think Priest has the money in the bank, so he's not winning. Kofi Kingston, he already had his big match at WrestleMania. I think, he's going to be in the tag division for a while. Gunther, could he win? Could he win and then go up against Rollins? He definitely teased that this week on Raw. So let's earmark him. Drew McIntyre. No, I don't see that. Bobby Lashley. No, I don't see that. Shinsuke Nakamura. No, I don't see it. CM Punk. Let's earmark that. Cody Rhodes. Let's earmark that. So we got 3 people. We got Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and Gunther. It seems to be, much to the hardcore fans' chagrin, that Cody Rhodes is probably not going to finish his story at WrestleMania. So let's knock out Cody Rhodes, unfortunately. So now it's down to CM Punk versus Gunther. And this takes me back to 2015 when Sting wrestled Triple H. Sting was definitely the babyface. It made no sense to have Triple H win it. But what did they do? They had Triple H win. Why? Because he's a company guy. Who's the company guy in this situation? Gunther. Gunther is going to win this one. I think he's going to win the Royal Rumble. So we got Becky Lynch. We got Gunther. We got Roman Reigns. And we got Logan Paul. Put your money down. That's who I'm betting on. That's the Curtain Jerkin pick. Fly high. I'm out.